Hi everybody, and welcome to Late Night with Tanya. This is my Ask Me Anything. So as people join in or as people ask questions, I'm just going to go through some things that you can do with business automation that you might not have thought of, or if you have thought of it, then it's something that you can look at in future. So one of the first things I want to talk to you about is part of business automation is systems. You can replace the word systems with habits. Getting into the habit of things that you have to do means that it doesn't require you to think about it. It's an automatic thing that you always do. Now, one of the first things that happen when I like to mention to people when they're building or growing their business is that you can make a whole heap of tax deductions. Depending on your country, depending on your income, all sorts of things can become deductible after you have started building your business. And you don't necessarily need to make a lot of money to be able to claim tax incentives. Just check your local business, check your local tax office and find out when you can start claiming deductions. Now, you might be thinking, yeah, but that means like a lot of receipts I've got to keep and all the rest. Take photos of them. Today, with so many bills actually being printed on the that FTPOS type paper, I don't know what it's called, photosensitive type paper, it means that they often fade, especially if you leave them out in the sun. So take a photo every time you buy anything that you might think is something that you need for your business. You know, if you've gone and bought business cards, take a photo of the invoice. If you are out meeting a client and you have to buy, or you buy them a coffee or you buy a coffee, take a photo of the receipt. If you're doing any sort of driving, take a photo of your odometer, start and finish. In Australia, you can claim travel for business. So look at that. If you're doing any sort of training, not only take a copy of the receipt, take an image of the training that you're at so that if you're asked, did you go? Straight away, you've got proof because you've got a photo that does it all for you. Start these sorts of systems where I spend some money that I think can be for my business, take a photo of it, then save those photos in a number of different places, save them on the cloud, save them on your desktop, because that way then at the end of the year, you can just look at the images and go, I spent this. Of course, you can do monthly accounts, you can do weekly accounts. It also depends on how big and how large your business is. But think about doing things like that. Once you've got into the habit, you've created a system, it becomes second nature. The minute you buy something that you think might be related to the business, pay for it, take an image of it, take a photo of it, and then if you want to file it, but you have a photo straight away that shows usually date, time, what you bought it for, and all those sorts of things. With some of the apps that you can get out there, you can also then put in a comment, bought Tanya coffee, whatever it might be. That's a system that makes your life so much easier. And that's a really basic one to do. And at the end of the year, these are all deductions that you can claim that you may have forgotten as you get busy that you spent that money on. If you do every single time, if you create that habit, your business will be stronger. So another thing that you can do is you might be somebody who has a list. And I'm just going to, while I'm waiting to see if anybody wants to jump on, and I realize that there wasn't a lot of notice for this, but I am planning on doing this more. And I'm just trying to throw out some ideas of things that you can ask me about. So one of the things I like to do whenever I create a new list is as soon as I've created a new list, I create tags because I use ActiveCampaign. I can use tags. You should have something similar in your autoresponder. But one of the things I always do is make sure that I can delay it. In ActiveCampaign, you can put a delay on things. So I add in my tags automatically. Then, of course, there's the emails that go out. But I always put a delay at the end unless it's a specific list. And I suppose for me, being able to keep a list active is more important to me than ending it. And it doesn't mean that you can't move people to another list or copy them to another list. But I always add on a 3-year hold once they've completed an autoresponder thing. It just means that if I think of another thing I want to send out, I can add it in. If I want to remind them in 3 months that something new has come out, I can add it in because I know that people signed into that list. And with the GDPR rules, by doing this, you know that people have actually actively signed into this list. So you're not able, they know why they signed up for this list. It's not a case of you've moved them around or added them to your newsletter list or anything else like that. They're a part of that list. Okay, some other ideas of things that you can do for automating your business. We've talked about autoresponders. We've talked about keeping tax receipts. Look at automating anything in your business that is boring, that's annoying. Now, for me, keeping tax receipts, writing them down, keeping them everywhere. When you've got the photos, you can at any time add them up. Excuse me one moment. I don't know what it is when I do an Ask Me Anything, but I always sneeze in one. I think it's become a tradition. But anyway, I'm over my sneezing, I think. When you're looking at automating things, you're always looking for things that either are boring, annoying, or something you don't really know how to do. And one of the most important things for anybody who has a business is backups. Backups mean that if your site goes down, you've got something to do it. If your computer dies, you've got things backed up to the cloud, or you've got it to an external hard drive. If you've got a laptop, again, it's been saved to an external hard drive. It's been uploaded to the cloud, whatever it might be. But even if you work exclusively off the cloud, you should also have backups from there as well. Because what happens if you, for whatever reason, you get hacked and you can't access it? If you forget the password and you're really desperate to find it? Having multiple places to back up and setting up systems that have that happen means that you're not suddenly going, when was the last time I backed up my website? Oh, have I got something? And there's heaps of products out there. Now, I'm not going to go through all the different products. I use Backup Buddy, and I have an external hard drive, and I also share things to my Dropbox, and I share things to my Google Drive. By doing all of that, it's better to have multiple copies of something than to turn around and go, I just lost a year's worth of work. And again, set up things like, if you use Word or Excel or anything like that, set up so that it automatically backs up. If you're using Google Drive, it saves for you. But look at things that can make your life, I think the word is, that makes your life safe. Is that the right word? I'm not sure. But it just means that rather than going, when was the last time I backed up my website? It's, I know my website backs up every week or every day or every month, whatever it might be. I know that because I've uploaded something to Dropbox, it's also been shared to somewhere else. IFTTT can help with that. Zapier can help with that. There's plenty of ways you can set it up, but the best way to start is by going in and saying, what do I need to save? And is it saved everywhere? Save it to Amazon, save it to Dropbox, save it to Google Drive, save it to OneDrive, whatever it might be. It's better to be in 3 or 4 places. Now, people are going to ask, but what about duplicate content, and how do I know what's the most up-to-date copy or whatever? Start dating and setting up a system so that you can date your documents. I always, whenever I save anything, I save it with the date today. So that if I'm looking at to find which is the most up-to-date one, if I'm creating one of my cookbooks, I might have 3 or 4 copies of it while I'm working my way through. Typically, I start with a really big archive of recipes that I have, and then I cut them down until I get the 20 or 10 or 30 or however many I want. So each time I refresh that screen or I refresh that product, I save it as a new document. Because again, I have that issue. When I save things into into Google Drive, because it automatically saves the most current version, I make sure it's saved somewhere I can find it easily. The whole point of business automation and the whole point of asking questions in our group is, what are the things that take up a lot of your time? What are you always looking for or trying to find? Do you have an automatic system of setting up passwords? Do you have an automatic system? And when I say automatic, it doesn't mean that it creates the passwords for you. It's something that you do because you've set up a system and it's an automatic thing. If I sign into a new site, I have a password system that I use. I don't have to sit there and think, oh, what password will I use here? I have a system that works. So much so that somebody mentioned a product. I thought, oh, I wonder if I own that. I went there, I logged in, and my system worked. 3 years ago, I bought this. I haven't used it because it wasn't necessary for me at this time. Got it as a lifetime option, very, very cheaply during a sale, during a launch. But 3 years later, my system worked and I was able to log in. I didn't have to reset passwords or anything. My system worked. So systems are set up because systems work. It's just something that makes your life easier if you get into habits, if you create systems. Another thing that I always like to do is save things into what makes sense to me. What makes sense to me may not make sense to you, but all of my videos get saved into this section. If I download something from the internet, it goes here. It's set up so that I don't have to think about, oh, should I save this under, oh, this week I'm going to save it under the name of the person who bought it. Next week I'm going to save it under the type of product it is. The week after that I'm going to save it under a tag. Every time I save anything, it's always saved the same way with the same sort of name so that I can easily find it. If I download a product that I've bought or that I have that I've been given for free, I look at the download name, and if it's a whole string of letters, I rename it because that's my system. So if you're sitting there going, oh look, I'm always losing stuff, your system's not working. Don't worry about what you've done in the past. Start from today. Oh, I can't remember my passwords. Well, set up a system. I can't save my receipts. Set up a system. Every time you're wasting time trying to remember something or how I've called it or where it might be, that's when you need to go and set up a system because it will make your life easier. Are you somebody who can never find your keys? Set up a system that when you come home, you always put it in one spot. Now, you might be saying, what's that got to do with business automation? It's all about systems, and you are your business. So if you're wasting time trying to find your keys because when you come home, you sometimes put it on the coffee table or you put it on the dinner table or it could be on the kitchen table, that's 3 possible spots that you've got to check in. Start creating a habit that when you get home, you put it on the coffee table. And then if next day you forget and you put it on the kitchen table, when you're out in the kitchen, pick it up and go and put it on the coffee table. And eventually your mind will associate the keys with the coffee table. That's an example. Systems are about making it something that you do without even thinking about it. It's a checklist that you know that I've got to do this, 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 and I'm done, and I can walk out the door. You're not wasting time going to do it. I think Steve Jobs and a couple of other quite big entrepreneurs, big business managers, CEOs, wear the same shirt every day or the same style of shirt every day, because why waste time trying to figure out what to wear? As a woman, I know I can sometimes do it, and I've set up a system where at the beginning of the week or actually on the weekend, I go in and put out what I'm going to wear for the week. It means that I don't have to think. My work now has a uniform, so I have my uniform that I wear, but I also have to do a Facebook Live every night. So I've set it up so that I've got my shirts, because it doesn't matter what I'm wearing, whether I'm wearing a skirt or whether I'm wearing long pants, you'll see my shirt. So I have a different shirt for every night of the week. I'm seriously considering just getting 7 black tops and wearing them, because then I don't have to think about it even more. But at least hanging up are my clothes for the next week for doing my Facebook Lives. That's a system. Every time, and I keep using the word time because you can't get time back. Once time is gone, it's gone. You can make more money if needs be. You can sell your car, you can sell your house, you can sell everything you own, and you've got money. But you can't sell anything to get more time. Once it's gone, it's gone. So all the things that take up time that could be created into a system makes life easier for you. I created a meal planner for my business automation, for my convection oven site, for that very reason. I know what I'm having for dinner every day, and my son can know what to have, and then I can have my cheat days without having to worry about, oh, did I have enough food at home? Have I got enough shopping board? Everything like that means that you're saving those 5 minutes. Now, 5 minutes a day adds up to 3 days a year. Doesn't seem much, but how many 5-minute jobs do you do? How much time did you spend today looking for your keys? How much time are you spending shopping for food? All of these things add up and add up and add up. So I usually shop online. I also work right next door to a shopping centre, so I will go in there and pick up things that I need. I like fresh meat when I'm cooking, but that doesn't mean I can't use frozen meat. So when it's on special, I buy more. That's another system. You know what you use, both for your business and for your personal life. If you buy or go through a lot of, tomato, buy when tomato cans are on special, buy 10 or 15, because you know that you'll use them and they won't go out of date. But if you only use cans of tomato once a year for, something special, Christmas or your birthday or, whatever. I have family members who hate the taste of tomato, so they wouldn't stock up on tomatoes. But it's what you need. And that's why business automation is both something that can be systemized, but it's also something that's very unique to you. Something I don't like using, a software that I hate using, another person loves using. Who's right? Both of us are right, because it's what works for you. And that's what business automation is about. What will work for you? It's no good saying go and do a 4-week training course, because you're not going to train. You're just going to say, oh, yes, I've paid out for this 4-week training course. I really didn't get anything from it, and it's no good to me. If you're not being able to say, look, I saw this product, I've seen some demonstrations, I've had some people show me how it works, I want this, I'm willing to invest the 4 weeks in there. Software, systems, and training are what I talk about all the time, because all of them allow you to be able to improve yourself and improve your business. And that's what business automation is all about. So I've been going for about 20 minutes. That's longer than I normally do. I don't have anybody joining in, which I understand it was at short notice. So if you're watching this and you've got some questions you'd like to ask them in the comments down below. And I'll be back in 12 hours from now or so to be able to do another Ask Me Anything. So anything that you've watched here or you'd like me to expand on, please share. And I'll catch up with all of you on my next Ask Me Anything. Thank you so much for everybody who's watching the replay, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.